Welcome to this masterclass. We're just listening to some music because one of my mentors always does this whenever there's a meeting or masterclass, and I love it. It's such a good way to just set the mood, dance a little bit. I want you to just shake off any stress. If it's been a stressful day, then just shake it off. Come into this space with a positive mindset and a relaxed body and dance a little bit. I hope you can hear it. This is as far up as my phone mic can go because I got water in it, of course. Welcome to this masterclass. Thrive from within, because food was never the problem. Your freedom is already inside of you. This is a powerful 2-day masterclass, 2-day experience to help you break free from emotional eating so you can finally feel free, fully fueled, and finally at peace with your body and your mind. This is a place, this is a masterclass where you learn how to feel in control again around food. So you never again have that food noise, constant food noise. And so that you're actually able to eat one biscuit and not the entire packet when all you really wanted was 1 or 2 biscuits. So that's the promise of this masterclass. I hope you are excited. Before we start, I would just like us to get grounded in this experience. So we're just going to take 3 deep breaths together. I want you to take your hand, put it on your stomach, breathe in through your nose, feel your stomach rising, and then exhale through your mouth. We're going to do it together now. So you feel how more relaxed you are now. It's incredible. I love it. It's incredible how just 3 deep breaths can calm you and ground you in such a powerful way. And all it takes is to breathe in and out 3 times. Like it's 10 seconds, 20 seconds, nothing. And it has such a huge impact on your nervous system. So now we're grounded and we're ready for this masterclass. So, day 1. Today we're going to talk about the story behind the craving. So we're really going to gain awareness on and around what is emotional eating and why do we do it? What is the story behind the craving? We're going to talk about what is emotional eating, the neuroscience of emotional eating, identity, language, and emotional eating. Why do we emotionally eat? The emotional eating cycle. Why getting better and why actually breaking free from this emotional eating can feel really scary. And lastly, we're going to talk about how you are not your habits. Your identity is not your habits. So, why am I talking about this? I'm talking about it because I was there too. And I know the absolute horror of emotional eating and how draining it can be on your mental and physical health. So when I was younger, I used to emotionally eat a lot. It started around 10 years old. It started when I really started to get access to my own money. So I was earning a little bit of money. I had like a little job. And all of a sudden I had access to my own money. I had my own credit card. And then I could just go buy all the food that I wanted to. No one could judge me anymore. And this food really gave me comfort. I remember hiding in my room and being so excited to just eat the food. Because then, just for a moment, I didn't worry about how I looked. I didn't worry about what others thought of me. I didn't worry about anything else. All the stress from the day could just disappear into this bar of chocolate or whatever I had bought. But the flip side of it was that I absolutely hated how I looked. Because obviously I was gaining weight because I was eating a lot of calories. And I hated it. And I hated how I looked, and I constantly picked my body apart in the mirror, and I took these pictures, and I just really hated how I looked. So I was coming from a place of so much self-hate. I then eventually managed to lose the weight, which then turned into more of an eating disorder because, again, it came from a place of self-hate. That's a story from a completely different day. But even when I was not eating a lot, I was still emotionally eating. I was still eating based on my emotions. And I had a really hard time gaining a good relationship with food because I'd been in both ends of the spectrum. I'd been where I was like binge eating, emotional eating. I'd also been where I was restricting, not eating anything, but it was both like this screwed, messed up relationship with food. Whereas now, I have the healthiest relationship with food I have ever had. I am able to listen to myself and listen to my body way more than I've ever been able to. And it feels so good. And I'm not gonna lie and say that everything is always perfect, because obviously I'm human. We're all human. That's also important. Like every coach you see online who has this picture perfect life, they're also human. They're also doing some of the things they are probably telling you shouldn't do. So I still have days where if I'm really stressed, I really want to eat just a bunch of chocolate or something. And sometimes I do. But very rarely do I eat unconsciously anymore, if that makes sense. I eat with okay, I know it's because I'm stressed. And sometimes I allow myself to have some chocolate because there's nothing bad with it. But it's about getting conscious about why am I feeling this way right now, and then having a toolkit to really utilize when you are feeling really stressed or you really just want to eat. Then what else can we do? What is happening behind the craving? So that's what we're going to talk about today and tomorrow. So what is emotional eating? Emotional eating lies in the word. It is a propensity to eat in response to positive and negative emotions. So it's basically just where you're eating in a response to your emotions. It lies in the word. So we have physical hunger, which is you are hungry and then you eat. But then emotional hunger is a big thing also, where you're full, you don't need more food. But then emotions come up, which makes you really want to eat. And often emotional eating presents as, if you're really stressed after a long day, then eating some chips, chocolate, when you get home can make you feel better. Or maybe you have done a big project at work, and to reward yourself, you're using food. Not because you're hungry, but because it's a reward. Or maybe the other way around. You have had a really shitty day, you maybe had an argument with someone, and then you also use food to comfort yourself. It can also be used as a punishment, because some people emotionally eat as a way of punishing themselves, because they know they're not taking care of their body and punishing themselves by eating that food. But basically it is just eating based on how you're feeling emotionally instead of how you're feeling physically. And before we go any further, I just want to also preface that there's nothing wrong with eating based on your emotions. We all eat based on our emotions. We eat when we're happy, and food, it's okay to like food, and it's okay to eat based on your emotions. You don't have to only be oh, I am not physically hungry right now, I can't eat. It's okay. If you want to eat a piece of birthday cake because someone at the office had a birthday, and you're yes, this seems really good. I'm not physically hungry, but I really want it. I want to be a part of the celebration. But it's, again, we're going to talk about it. Are you consciously making that choice, or are you just unconsciously eating just because you want to feel good, to numb these emotions? So there's nothing wrong eating based on your emotions, but you shouldn't do it to numb those emotions that you are feeling. So the neuroscience of emotional eating. What actually happens in our brain when we emotionally eat? Your prefrontal cortex, which is in the front of the brain, which is called, I call it the CEO of your brain. It makes all the like decisions, more logical decisions. It is typically very overactive, and it creates these rigid rules around food, around what you can eat. This food is good, this food is bad, I can't eat that, I should be eating this amount of calories. It creates these like rigid rules and structures around food. Then we have your amygdala, which is your emotional center. When you are really stressed, it causes like you get overwhelmed. This then releases the cortisol. And when you have a lot of cortisol in your body, you crave to feel safety. You want to feel safe. And how do you do that? By eating. Because when we eat, you have dopamine that is released. When dopamine is released, your reward center lights up. It makes you feel really good. We all know it, like the doom scrolling, eating something good, it makes you just feel instantly really good. And then it reinforces this pattern of whenever I'm stressed, I can just eat and then I feel better. Or whenever I'm sad, I can eat and then I feel better. The thing is, we only feel better in the moment, but we all know that. But that is what is happening in your brain. It is literally a survival mechanism from your brain, trying to protect you by getting you to do something that makes you feel good instantly, because your brain doesn't like to feel bad. So, the story of emotional eating and the language you are using. So often with emotional eating, we are telling ourselves this story around emotional eating, and we do it often via the language we are using. So the story often can be, I can't control myself around food. I always tend to overeat. I am a stress eater. I can't be trusted around food is a big one. And you're slowly telling yourself that story, and that story is probably based on years of feeling this way. Because I bet some of you have struggled with these things for many, many years. And therefore it's hardwired into you that, oh, I'm just a person who can't be trusted around food. And you make it a part of your identity. And especially also the language you are using. If you constantly say, I am a person who can't control herself around food, guess what? You're gonna be a person that can't control herself around food. So a crucial thing to do is to look at, am I telling myself that I am this person? Am I telling myself that I am my eating habits? What identity have I built up around me and food? And is it actually true? Or is it just something that I'm saying because I have years of evidence that I have built up that, oh, I can't control myself around food, I shouldn't be trusted around food. And where does that story come from? Is there anyone else in your family who is maybe also talking that way around food? I know a lot of it can come if you maybe have a mom or a dad who, the classical diet talk of, oh, I ate this hot dog, I should go running tomorrow, or I can't eat dessert because I had this or this, or, oh, I had like a big lunch, I shouldn't eat anymore the rest of the day. These like typical diet culture talk can really affect you and really affect the story of how you're talking about emotional eating and yourself. So I want you to get aware of, what story am I telling myself around emotional eating? And also in the language you're using, are you coming from a very like scarcity place? So are you saying like, this food is bad or this food is good? I can't have this food, or I can have this food. So let's say some chocolate. Instead of saying, oh, I can't have chocolate. Chocolate is not good. Chocolate is bad. I'm bad. Again, you're literally making yourself a bad person because you're eating chocolate. So instead of saying no or yes, flip that language and say, maybe it's a now decision, I want this chocolate now, or maybe it's just a not right now decision. It's not that I can't ever have this chocolate, but it's just a not now decision. that flips the language away from the scarcity, which also helps your brain get more calm around like, oh, it's not something I can't have right now. It's not something I can never have, but I just can't have it right now. I just won't have it right now, but it's not something I can never have. And therefore you don't put it on this pedestal where you really, really, really want it. Because that's what happens. Whenever you say, I can't have chocolate, then your brain is like, oh, this is something forbidden. I want it even more. And it puts it up, and there's this halo effect around it where you're just constantly thinking about the chocolate until you go to the cupboard and you all of a sudden you've eaten the entire plate of chocolate, or the entire bar of chocolate, it's called. So shifting away from that scarcity language you're using around food. So I want you to ask yourself, what does a perfect day of eating look like for you? Just kind of like pause this video, write it down. What does a perfect day of eating look like? And then when you're done, I hope you pause the video and you're back now again. I want to challenge you a bit. Why is the day you wrote down a perfect day of eating? And without knowing it, I bet that your perfect day of eating involved you not eating any bad foods, not eating any chocolate, not eating any crisps, not drinking any soda. Like, that's a perfect day of eating. Eating clean all day is a big thing. So if that is what you wrote down, something in that area, I want you to ask yourself, why is that a perfect day of eating? Why are you perfect if you're eating clean all day? Why are you perfect if you are not eating any chocolate? Where does that belief come from? Is it something that you believe yourself, or is it something that comes from maybe someone else in your life? Maybe it's society who has taught you this rule. Where does it come from? And why are you not perfect if you eat chocolate? Or if you eat crisp or whatever. So I want yourself to really reflect over these questions. And then I want you to ask yourself, again, pause the video, what do I believe emotional eating says about me? Again, like, what story are you telling yourself about yourself? Like we just talked about. What is this story? Write it down. Like, if you feel like you are out of control around food, or you feel like you're emotionally eating a lot, what does that say about you? What do you think it says about you? Maybe you think it's making you a bad person, a undisciplined person, a person who lacks willpower, a person who can't control herself, a whatever. Write down every belief you have around yourself in connection to emotional eating. And then I want you to ask yourself, where does that belief come from? Is that something that you actually believe? Is it coming from childhood maybe? Often these beliefs do stem from childhood, but it's just not always something we remember because it is in childhood and we tend to forget these things. But where does that belief actually come from? And can you find the evidence that this belief is actually not true? So you maybe say you can't be consistent. You can't consistently eat good throughout the day. So you tell yourself you can't be consistent. But you are brushing your teeth every day, so you are consistent. Or maybe you tell yourself you are a bad person because you eat this food. So you're telling yourself you're a bad person, but you also donate to a charity or whatever, which makes you not a bad person. Or you are a good wife or a good daughter or whatever, which makes you not a bad person. So what story, what beliefs are you telling yourself? Where do those beliefs come from? And can you find the evidence that those beliefs are actually not true? I want you to just stop and write these things down. So, why do we emotionally eat? What is this craving behind the craving? So often when we emotionally eat, it can happen from like different reasons. First of all, it can also be that we are just not eating enough throughout the day. If you are eating very little throughout the day, or maybe you're skipping breakfast, I see you, then that will also trigger you to emotionally eat more, because then your brain again, it's like, oh, you haven't given us any food like throughout the day. Basically, I just want quick calories, which can come from like those high sugar, high fat foods, which we often tend to label as bad. So that can be like number one reason. Also that you're not eating enough protein. Protein is the thing that's gonna make you more satisfied. And your body wants to have the protein to repair your cells and your muscles. So if you're eating like carbs to breakfast, lunch, dinner, and you're not giving it any like nutrients, maybe you're eating like cereal for breakfast. I see you're eating some white bread with, I don't know, some like, I don't know, white bread with cheese for lunch. And then the first bit of protein you get is at dinner. Then your body is also going to be like, no, I need more like nutrients. I need more food. And again, it just wants calories. It just wants more to eat. It just wants to feel satisfied. And therefore, it makes you really crave like high sugar, high fat foods. So those are the first things I want you to ask yourself. Are you actually eating enough, and are you eating enough protein? Then lastly, it is often that there's an unmet need behind the eating. So what unmet need are you trying to like avoid meeting by eating this food? Maybe you are coming home from a long day at work and you are really, really stressed. And instead of actually sitting with yourself, giving yourself time, calming your nervous system down, you go straight to eating because it makes you feel instantly good. You are avoiding that feeling of you're avoiding this uncomfortable feeling of feeling stressed and tired and drained by eating instead of actually caring for yourself. And often, like if we are really stressed throughout the day, it's often also that we don't give ourselves those like little breaks, times to rejuvenate throughout the day. You go, next meeting, next thing I have to do. You are on top of it all. I see it again and again and again. You are like performing like 110% at work or when you are outside and you're doing everything and you are like, this perfectionism trait is coming around and up again and again and again, where you're doing it all, but you're not taking care of yourself. So inside you are slowly crumbling, which means the minute you walk in that door to your house, a place where you feel safe and you don't have to perform anymore, you're just drained from energy. You are just like, you just don't have any more energy and you just want to feel good because you haven't given yourself an opportunity to do that throughout the day because you have to be on all the time. You have to be perfect all the time. And therefore, the minute you walk into a safe place, you don't have to pretend anymore. And you just want to feel good. And your brain just wants you to be safe. And it just wants you to feel good. And it knows, like we talked about it before, the dopamine, it knows that if you eat something, you're gonna feel good. So I want you to really like remember this, that your brain never wants to hurt you. Your brain just wants you to make you feel good. And it's really smart. It does that the quickest way possible by making you like really crave some high sugar, high fat food, which is gonna make you feel good in the moment. That's important, like reframe that your brain is not here to hurt you, it's here to really protect you. But you're just not giving it any breaks throughout the day, and therefore it's like the minute it feels safe to kind of break down, it just wants you to feel good and it just wants you to feel safe, and it does that by making you crave food. Or maybe you're scrolling a lot on Instagram And that is most often why we emotionally eat, because we're not giving ourselves those pauses throughout the day. We're not giving ourselves the ability to actually just take a breath once in a while and take care of ourselves. We're like hyper functioning, high functioning on the outside, but on the inside, we're not functioning at all. Our nervous system is in fight or flight all the time. And you're not giving yourself the opportunity to just take a breath once in a while and not put more and more things on your plate. So, that is some of the things that is like most likely causing your emotional eating. I want you to just look at those things and be like, where am I like going wrong? And there's nothing going wrong, but where do I identify most with? And this like emotional eating cycle, which I talked about a bit also, but if you're stressed, you just want comfort. You just want to feel good again, and that's okay. And then you eat because that's what your brain knows as something like, this is an easy way to feel good. You feel relief, you feel really good. Then the positive feeling fades because you start feeling guilty. And then you feel stressed again that, oh no, I ate this chocolate I shouldn't have. And then we are going around and around and around and around. Where, if we can come in, you're stressed from a long day of work, that's totally fine. You want comfort, that's totally fine, of course. Like, you need the comfort. But then interject here that instead of you eating to feel this comfort, you do something else. We're going to talk a lot more about like what these different tools can be tomorrow. But that's like the place where you get to interject and change this cycle of emotional eating. You get to break the pattern of your emotional eating, recognizing that, okay, right now I'm feeling really stressed, or I'm feeling really drained. I need comfort in some sort of way. How can I do that for myself that isn't something that is gonna make me feel really bad in some form of way, or ruin my progress, or whatever? How can I do this without eating? Because eating is something where you feel good instantly, but then you don't feel good on the long run. So what tools can we utilize to make you feel good in the long run? And that is like, we're going to talk about it tomorrow, but in my coaching, we also build out these like emotional eating toolkits specific to the person that you can then pull up whenever you're feeling really stressed, or you just know you need comfort, you really want to emotionally eat. You can pull it up and be like, okay, what can I do from here before I choose to eat? Because you're breaking that pattern. So, if I want you to just, again, pause the video, write these things down. It's very important. If I couldn't use food to soothe or escape, what emotion would I be forced to feel? So, think about when you're most likely to emotionally eat or use like food as a comfort. If you couldn't use food, like if there was no food right there in that moment, and you had no way to get any food or escape this feeling by doing something else, by doom scrolling or something else, what emotion would you then be forced to feel? What emotion is it that most typically makes you want to emotionally eat? Is it stress? Is it feeling sad? Is it feeling angry, upset? What emotion is it that you would be forced to then feel? And when you emotionally eat, what are you really hungry for? Because we've already established it's not a physical hunger. Like, you're not actually hungry. So what are you hungry for? You may be hungry for someone to just tell you that everything is going to be okay, for someone to comfort you. Maybe that's what you really need. Maybe you should communicate to your partner that I just need someone to give me a hug sometimes, because I feel really vulnerable when I get home and I'm really tired and I just need someone to care for me. Maybe that's what you really need. And then you can try and communicate that. Maybe you don't have a partner you can communicate that to. Do you have someone else that can like help you? Or can you do it for yourself? Are you really hungry for just someone to take care of you, but you don't have anyone to take care of you? So you take care of yourself. You learn how to regulate your own emotions by maybe taking a hot bath, doing a manicure, giving yourself a hug. I love that. I love giving myself a hug. and telling myself that I feel like I'm safe, you're okay. Because often when these emotions come up, it's like the subconscious part of your brain, which I also like to call like your monkey brain or your child brain. So you can think of it kind of like your little inner child coming out. If you're like feeling really drained, you're like on the cusp of like just breaking down. You can like think of it as your little inner child just needing comfort. And how can you comfort her? How can you comfort yourself? By maybe giving yourself a hug. By maybe, I don't know, doing something that doesn't involve food. What can we do? And what are you really hungry for? Again, pause, write this down. What do I wish someone would give me, say to me, or let me do? Really think about this. Like, what do you wish deep down inside that someone would just give you? Maybe it is a hug. Say to you, everything is okay. You are not a bad person. You are safe. Or let you do. What are these things? Again, pause, write them down, really think about it, reflect about it. And then lastly, we're going to talk a bit about like why getting better actually feels really scary. And it is because of this story you have told yourself. You have literally made it your identity that you're someone who emotionally eat. You have made it your identity that you're someone who can't be trusted around food. And therefore, if you were to get better, if you were to actually start listening to your emotions, you would have to part with that part of your identity. Like, you would have to make a new identity. You would have to let go of your identity. And that's so hard because that's not safe. That's not something we know. And your brain just wants to keep you safe. So, if all of a sudden you're going against what your brain believes is your identity, then it wants to do everything it can to drag you down, drag you back to your old identity, because over here, it feels safe right now. And it's important to remember that it feels safe in the moment, but it doesn't benefit you long term. But your brain, that's why maybe you have like 1 or 2 days where you're doing really good. And then all of a sudden you're like intense cravings. Like you really want to just eat something, or you really just want to like go back and say fuck it all. And that's literally your brain just being like, come on, nope, you tried that enough. We're ready to go back to our safe old identity now. You can't do that anymore. But in these moments, it's just important to remember why you're doing it. Why are we trying to get out of emotional eating? And now, because you know that it's literally just your brain wanting to keep you safe, you can calm your brain down. Literally say to yourself, it's okay. I'm okay. I don't need that old identity more. I'm fine. We're going to talk more about this tomorrow, like letting go of that identity. But that is why it feels kind of scary, because you can't use food anymore. If you choose to get better, if you choose to listen to your emotions, you can no longer use food to escape. And that's scary because that feels really good when we use food to escape. And you can't do that anymore. That's maybe also why you don't want to feel better. Because you know then you would have to deal with your emotions every time something hard comes up. And that can be really hard. But it benefits you so much more long term. So, lastly, I want to just like finish today off by saying you are not your eating habits. You literally can't be your habits. You are not bad because you eat food. You are not someone who can't be trusted around food. You cannot, and I want to hammer this down because it's so important, you can't be your habits. If you are someone who tends to emotionally eat, that isn't your identity. Your identity isn't rooted in and around only you and your eating habits and your body image. You are so much more than your habits. You are maybe a person who really likes to dance also, and you're happy and you're caring, but you are not only your eating habits. You are actually not your eating habits. Your identity can't be a habit. Also, some people say that, like, oh, I'm just a messy person. You can't be a messy person. Messy is something that's like, a room can be messy, but you are not a messy person. You can't be that. So just that, if like, take this with you for tomorrow and for the rest of today. Like, you are actually not your eating habits. Like, just repeat that. I am not, just because you maybe emotionally eat sometimes, or you tend to go to food, that doesn't mean that you are someone who, like, emotionally eat. That doesn't mean that you are someone who is inconsistent. That doesn't mean that you are someone who can't be trusted around food, because you are not your habits. Okay? So that's like the closing words I want to give you for today. So what happens tomorrow? Tomorrow we're going to talk about, so today we created that awareness of around what story are you actually telling yourself around food? Why are you telling that story? Where does these beliefs come from? And why do we emotionally eat? Like, what is actually happening in the brain, and why do we tend to always do it? Because we want to feel safe. Tomorrow we're going to talk a bit more about what can we then do? Like, the emotional eating cycle I mentioned, like, what are the tools we can use to actually interject there? Like, when we're feeling needing comfort, what can we then do instead of eating? We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about reshaping this new identity. Who are you behind eating? Who are you beyond your body? Who are you? What is this new identity you want to step into, and what is the old identity you want to let go? So that is what we're going to talk about tomorrow. It has been so good today. I was in it. It felt so good delivering these things, because I just know how much it can help you. Really gaining this awareness. And maybe it's not as sexy as another new diet, but this is the real groundwork. And I promise you, I've done it myself. This is the groundwork. If you really want to get better, it is creating this awareness. Answer the questions I gave you. Don't just answer a few sentences and then you're done. Take it seriously if you want to get better. Because if you do these things, if you create that awareness, you also create compassion for yourself, and you create compassion when you are in these moments where you really just want to eat. And then it's way easier to break free from it. So I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. I hope you had an amazing time here today with me. I had an amazing time with you today, and I will see you tomorrow.